What is it about our culture that seems obsessed with getting points, with racking up like imaginary gold stars so that we get points or credit or attention or applause for what we do? I mean, you can't deny it, right? We live in a time when, especially because of things like social media and smartphones that we're carrying around, cameras with us everywhere we go all the time, we are constantly wanting to take pictures and offer proof of, here's what I did that's important, please acknowledge me. We then track about who's more interesting or who's more important than whom based on who gets more likes or follows or comments or whatever. And in our adult grown-up world in jobs, we're constantly looking for approval and accolades and ways we can climb up the ladder so that we can at least have some sense we've done enough to be recognized. There's so much in our culture that reinforces this idea we have to be constantly in search of getting more gold stars. Maybe because underneath we have this fear that I don't really matter, I'm not really good enough unless I can prove it with the accolades, or at least if I've got more than the person next to me. Then I know at least I belong because I'm better than the next person. Once you accept that logic, once you buy into that system, that you have to keep getting more gold stars for yourself, that you have to keep getting noticed, that you have to keep getting acknowledged, it is exhausting. It is relentless, this constant need to get approval, to get somebody else's recognition. And maybe we forget it doesn't have to be that way. This coming Sunday, in a strange and short little passage from Luke's gospel, Jesus sort of imagines us being like servants in a household. And again, while maybe it doesn't feel super comfortable to imagine ourselves as servants, Jesus just sort of imagines, if you have a servant in your household, do you have to spend all the time giving them gold stars? Or ideally, isn't the servant just understand what their job is? They know they belong in the household and they're just free to do their job, right? And say, I don't need additional credit. I'm just doing what you called me to do. Jesus sort of gives us a picture of life among the people of God that way. That we don't have to be constantly seeking somebody else's approval or trying to get recognition, gold stars or accolades or credits or points or whatever. And that frees us just to do the kind of work we've been called to do, just to do what God calls us to do and to be what God calls us to be. Because God's community isn't like, say, a corporation or where you have your place of work, where if they decide that you're not the best of the best or you aren't the employee of the month, maybe they don't need you anymore. Our belonging in God's household is permanent. Our place is secure. And once you know that, once you know deep down in your bones, you belong. God's not looking to get rid of you or downsize or trim the fat in the budget. God includes you. You belong in the household. Then yeah, you really are free. We really are free not to worry about whether I get gold stars or enough appreciation or recognition for what we do. We can be the kind of people who are not constantly looking for external validation. We can be the kind of people who do good behind the scenes without thinking, I hope I get credit or recognition for this. We can be people who do good simply for the sake of doing good. We can be people who live the Jesus way of life without worrying about if we're getting enough points. There are no points. We're done with points. We don't have to waste any more time or energy trying to get gold stars. And if that's true, because that's true, we're simply freed. So join us for that conversation this coming Sunday as we think about how might our lives be free. If we really take seriously, there's no more need for us to constantly look over our shoulder to hope that God noticed the good thing that I did, that we don't have to constantly worry about whether we get enough credit, and instead to trust, I belong in the household. God says there's a place for me always. So I'm free simply to do what God has called each of us to do. Join us for that conversation this coming Sunday. See you then.